Hi everybody, it's time for my Captain Marvel review. Okay, spoilers, I didn't see it. If you read the title, didn't see it. So in this video, I'm actually going to go into why I didn't see Captain Marvel, and also why I haven't seen a lot of Marvel films in the past several years. Hi everybody, it's Az here from HeelvsBabyface. So, okay, the cat is out in the bag. Captain Marvel came out here in the UK today. I think the first showings after the midnight launches, if any, I don't know if they had any for that, but if they had any midnight launches, was midday. And I tweeted out early today, I'm kind of semi-interested to see it, not because I actually want to see the film, but I just want to see this, because there is just a whole kerfuffle surrounding this movie, which we'll get into throughout the course of this video. And ultimately, no. No. So, first of all, let's go into a little bit about what I perceive when I think about Marvel films. Now, Marvel offered a really good alternative to the DC films. I mean, I think the Christopher Nolan Dark Knight trilogy is stunning. Unbelievable work. Very earnest, very grounded, very gritty. Marvel decided to make their comic book films more like comic books. There was humor, there was levity in it. There's, obviously, you've got your grounded moments as well, but there were a lot more, we're just going to put in the bracket of fun. But it lasted for a little while, and then to me, the formula just never changed. So, something had to carry these films, and thankfully for Marvel, they cast excellently when it came to the choices of roles for the main characters. Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, my goodness me, I cannot even conceive in my mind who could play a better Tony Stark than Robert Downey Jr. He brought such charisma and great acting chops to the role, totally made it his own. And a character which actually at the time in the Marvel Universe was, more like a B-lister. Not really up there on the A-listers, not on the same level as your Spider-Mans and your Captain Americas and whatnot. Suddenly became almost the guiding star of Marvel itself when it came to these films. So it did huge amounts for Iron Man as an actual series as well. And then they cast Chris Evans as Captain America, which was, to me, almost, again, a perfect choice. Because Chris Evans, the way that he bulked up, his facial features, he's so handsome. I'm straight, but come on, the guy's real handsome. And he just personified the hero. He just kind of captured all those classic comic book elements of what a hero looks like physically, how he commands himself, etc., etc. So Chris Evans brought this sense of vulnerability to his role as Captain America as well, which just, again, really drew me in to the character. And once more, I can't see anyone else playing Captain America other than Chris Evans. So we had two incredible castings. Now, when it came to Thor, and we had Chris Hemsworth, it was the writing of the character which they weren't really sure of to start with. He started off very earnest, and he came across as pretty one-dimensional. Even if Chris Hemsworth himself was, a great model of a man and all that. And so when they actually started to play a little bit more with the humorous side of Thor and a little bit of the fish out of water aspect of it, suddenly the character started to find its feet and, once again, came into its own. And then by the time the third Thor film came out, the Ragnarok film came out, it was just such a wonderful, fun experience. He didn't need Natalie Portman. No disrespect to Natalie Portman, but he didn't need a love interest. He didn't need any of that shenanigans Just needed kick ass. Kick ass, have a bit of fun. The Hulk was the perfect patsy for him. And so, yeah, and this is obviously built up over a considerable period of time. The wonderful Scarlett Johansson. Now, the criminal thing here, folks, is why Scarlett Johansson didn't get a Black Widow film. That's the real criminal thing here. Because Scarlett Johansson is an incredible actor, absolutely incredible actor. I first came across her. I first came across her in Lost in Translation. And I was smitten ever since. I thought she was incredible. I think the film was incredible. And she was brilliant because she brought so many different nuances to the Black Widow character. She was sleek and sexy. She was intelligent. She was manipulative. She was vulnerable. There were just these wonderful facets which she brought to the character. Again, why she didn't get her standalone film kind of makes me a little bit mad. She was the one deserving of it, and she has been the ultimate female hero in that Marvel universe. And she kind of, just go with me on this one, she kind of almost takes the Batman role, in as much as she doesn't possess superpowers, she just possesses excellent training. And so you have the Hawkeye and Black Widow dynamic, which work perfectly because they're just human, but they have incredible, reflexes, training, etc. Whereas you have your Captain Americas, your Iron Mans, who are augmented with either special powers or special tech. So they work really well. Characters have different things. Other than that, when they started adding to the ensemble, things kind of became a bit of a muchness. And so the first few films were excellent because they were really carried by their cast. Excellent choices, excellent casting. So even what I would call a really poor Iron Man 2 film in terms of writing, story, etc., was still entertaining in as much as Robert Downey Jr. was entertaining and Sam Rockwell was entertaining. The Boyd. So even though it was a pretty bad film, there were good elements that you could take from it because the cast kind of pushed it a little bit further than that film really demanded, etc. But when Winter Soldier came out, Winter Soldier, I think, is a sublime film. And why? Because it actually broke away from the current trend of Marvel films. It really placed Captain America in a very vulnerable situation. It had a great espionage, spy element to it, which was smaller in scope, apart from when the endings happen and they all go a bit crazy. And the characters really got to shine. You really got to delve deeper into, ladies, into Scarlett Johansson and Black Widow, and also into Chris Evans's Captain America, and great little scenes with Peggy. And it really, and that was the Russo brothers. I think that was the Russo brothers' first offering in the Marvel Universe. When the Avengers films came out, Joss Whedon's first one did excellently. The Russo brothers took over, and then the Russo brothers films started to feel a little bit samey. And so when they brought in the ancillary characters, I was getting burnt out, and I had enough, really. I didn't mind watching your Iron Mans, and I didn't mind watching Captain Americas, and I would have really loved to watch your Black Widows. Talked about Black Canary yesterday. Your Black Widows. But was I really interested in Ant-Man? No. No. Was I interested in seeing Black Panther? No. But that's because I'm racist. No, it's because I don't know anything about these characters. Same with Doctor Strange. Was I interested in watching Doctor Strange? No. I don't know these characters. These to me are fringe characters. Now, sure, they've got a following and they're much loved. And sure, of course, I understand the significance of Black Panther to the black community. Of course I do. But to me, they just didn't mean anything. And so I didn't go to the cinema, and I didn't see Ant-Man, and I didn't see Doctor Strange, and I didn't see Black Panther, and I didn't see Ant-Man and the Wasp. Because, I just wait for them to come onto Netflix. And when they came onto Netflix, when Ant-Man came onto Netflix, I watched it. What was it like? Wasn't a bad film, wasn't a good film, it was just there. It was a popcorn film, If you ask me to recall anything about the film, no. No. I watched Doctor Strange when it came onto Netflix. Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. Better than Ant-Man. Not wonderful, but decent. I wish Benedict Cumberbatch hadn't put on a terrible American accent, just had a British accent. Just have Doctor Strange British. Who cares? I don't think the Americans would care. And then Black Panther, when it comes onto Netflix, if it comes onto Netflix, because of course we've got the Disney streaming coming soon, but if it comes onto Netflix, yeah, probably give it a watch. Probably give it a watch. So let's kind of bring the focus now to Captain Marvel. Now, we've been in this universe, in this Marvel universe now for 10 years. And these 10 years have brought us a multitude of different films. Avenger films, standalone films, ancillary character films, Civil War, etc. And we have really built up our love, affection, whatever you want to call it, with these characters. The Captain Marvel film is a perfect example of how Marvel Comics writes today. And without triggering people, it's the SJW. It's a character that comes in, that hasn't earned anything, that doesn't deserve anything, but has a sense of pride and accomplishment in what they are. I'm great. I mean, there was recently, I think this month, to coincide with the Captain Marvel film, they've relaunched, I think for the 11th time in 8 years, the Captain Marvel comic, because nobody buys it. Nobody's interested in this character. And in the first I believe, in the first issue of this comic, somebody asks Captain Marvel, if you could go back in time to your younger self, to your child self, what would you tell them? And that in itself is a really interesting question, because let's just pose that to you watching the video right now. If you could go back in time to let's just say a 10-year-old you, what would you say to them? What would you say to them? I would have, different things I'd like to say to myself, different paths, words of encouragement, where you're going to fail, where you should, position yourself as a person. But no, not with Captain Marvel. Apparently, she would go back to her child self and say, yeah, you were right. Because SJW Marvel characters never fail. Never. They never need to pick themselves up because they never fall. I spoke yesterday about the hero's journey. So this brings us to obviously the Captain Marvel film, which is removed, 1 month from Avengers Endgame, where Captain Marvel looks like she's going to swoop in and be the one to save the day when it comes to Thanos. And after 10 years of building up all these other characters and us developing relationships with these characters, it feels cheap. It feels like we may be swindled. I mean, we don't know for absolutely sure. But this is how it's seemingly looking to set itself up as the older characters leave the film series, like Chris Evans has finished now as Captain America. And this is the new wave. Feminism. The new wave of Marvel characters to come. Eek. And so that's the way they want to set it up. But it goes deeper with Captain Marvel, because it's not just another character which I don't really know, don't really care about, and therefore aren't going. There has been this circus, as I mentioned earlier, that has surrounded this whole series. And just as an outsider looking in, and I'm sorry to disappoint all the media out there, I know I am white, I know I am cisgendered, I am perfectly fine with being a male, and I know I'm heterosexual, so I'm everything the far left hates. Wait, was that a reverse of what Sonic Fox said at the Games Award? Okay. So I'm everything the far left hates. But the thing is, if I want to see something, I'll see it. I'll pay for it. You don't pay for it. I say you as in the far left, of course, the alt left, I like to call it. They don't pay for it. They get invited to stuff. No, the fandom, us as a fandom, we pay for stuff. We want to see something, we go to the cinema and we pay for it. We want a toy, a nice little figurine. We go to the shops and we pay for it, or we online and we pay for it. We want a big ass, beautiful Batman. Fucking look at the tillies on that. Then, we save up our pennies and we pay for it. Because we are happy to support when something is good, when something is great, when we can get our get behind a project. But with Marvel particularly, especially with Marvel Comics, they're not interested in making comics for... How I talk about your EAs and your Activisions are not interested in making games for gamers anymore. They're only interested in making games for shareholders. Marvel is an ideological company now, and it has a different mentality. It's not interested in making comics for comic fans. It's interested in ticking boxes and virtue signaling. So they can just turn around when everything crashes to the ground and say, well, I was the first person that brought a disabled half black, half Finnish trans, you know what I mean. They're just ticking boxes. And that's all they care about. They're virtue signaling, and they're not looking to do what they should be doing, which is writing comics for their core audience. And Marvel's comics, not Marvel Comics, Marvel's comics are selling terribly. Absolutely terribly. None of their diversity range are selling. None of the Captain Marvel isn't selling. Squirrel Girl isn't selling. All the characters they replaced the Hulk, they replaced Thor, they replaced Iron Man. They replaced all these characters. They even replaced Captain America with an alt version of Captain America, a white supremacist version of Captain America. They replaced all of these characters because they were actually embarrassed that their beloved character were white guys. They were embarrassed by that. They wanted to diversify. So they just thought, right, instead of the Hulk being Bruce Banner, let's just get rid of Bruce Banner and we'll put an Asian chap as the Hulk. Thor's a man? No, Thor's a woman. No, Thor's his name, you dumbasses. Fucking hell. And I'm not even a Marvel fan in terms of comics. Iron Man. Oh, that's an alcoholic white dude. No, now it's a 15-year-old black girl. Same with Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and such and such. And the thing is, though, they just thought they could swap out and everything would be fine. And what they don't understand is these are beloved characters. Bruce Banner, beloved character. Tony Stark, beloved character. Thor, beloved character. Peter Parker, beloved character. All these are beloved characters. And they just try to leapfrog off that undeserving accolades. What I was talking about earlier in the video. They just hijack something and try and claim it as their own, and then try and claim all the success that surrounded it prior. Now, before people start getting uppity and they start saying, oh my God, he's going all racist and transphobia. No, I ain't got any problem whatsoever with diverse characters coming into universes at all. None. I don't care. This is just the thing. We're victimized here. The fandom is victimized. 99.9% of us, we don't care. All that we ask is you create one. You create one and you build it up. You build it up and you build that fandom up and you get it to a deserved position. Deserved off merit, not deserved because you hijacked a bunch of characters. And with Captain Marvel, she is literally a fairy on top of a Christmas tree. That is what Captain Marvel represents in the Marvel comics right now. She is just their prize. Their prize to put at the top. She's better than everything. She's better than everyone. And she hasn't earned a single solitary thing. From a geek like myself, from somebody who has got thousands of comics, got them scattered everywhere right now. Thousands of comics. Sure, mine are DC, but okay. Well, unless it's Stanley Lau, Art Germ, who does the artwork for the cover, in which case I buy them, because Stanley Lau. But for somebody like me, I can't get behind a hero like that because they're not a hero. They haven't earned their position there. And Captain Marvel hasn't. She never has. So that's why I have no affinity with the character itself. Never mind. And I'm only going to touch on this next bit because this is really what it means to me. Never mind the fact that Brie Larson has come across as one of the most obnoxious, horrible people ever with her speeches, with her exclusionary talk, even though she thinks she's being inclusionary, with her virtue signaling, with her... I think that's enough. I don't think we need to go... I don't want to go any further into it because this is not what it's about. It's actually about what the character represents. And the character represents cheap. It represents undeserved. It doesn't represent a hero, and it doesn't represent the hero's journey. It represents laziness. It represents virtue signaling. It represents everything that goes against what makes a hero great. And that is why I didn't go and see Captain Marvel at the cinema. Because quite frankly, I couldn't care about it whatsoever. So I hope you enjoyed the vid. If you did, do give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel. Follow me on social media and Twitch for live streaming links. They're in the description box down below. And I'll be back with some more stuff very soon. You take care. Bye for now.